and a guy in Colorado has been he has to pay child support to his ex-wife for a child that is not his. The child is not his biological child. I guess his wife cheated on him, had a child with another man. They know who the father of they know who the biological father of the child is, but the ex-husband still has to pay child support for the kid, even though he's not the biological father. The court says that he has to pay child support until that child is, I think the child is now 15 years old, so he has to pay child support until she is 19 years old. So he's paying $730 a month for the child. So now the thing, this thing. First of all, this is not the only case like that. I've heard cases, similar cases in the United States, and there are probably similar cases in other countries as well, where they know that a certain man is not the biological father of a child, but they make that man pay child support anyway. And even if sometimes they know who the real biological father is, but they still make a man who is not the biological father, they still make him pay child support. There was a case in I think it was Detroit, where a woman falsely claimed that a certain man was the father of her child, falsely identified a man as the father of her child, and that man was not even aware that he had been identified as the father, the alleged father, even though he was not the biological father. But he was not aware that he had been fingered as the father of the child, and then he was forced to pay. The government came after him for child support, to pay all this child support for this child that was not his child, and that he was not even aware. I'm not even sure if he actually even had any kind of relationship with the woman who claimed that he was the father of her child. So, some of these there's some messed up laws in these states where they can have men who are not biological fathers of these children paying child support for children that are not theirs. Everyone knows they're not theirs. It's been proven by DNA. In some cases, I guess it depends on the state, depends on the jurisdiction. They have different laws, but maybe in some places, if a man actually claims a child as his own, then he can't really terminate those rights. Sometimes if a man has a relationship with a woman who has children from a previous relationship, and he is seen as stepping in the role as a father, then he has to pay child support for the kids, even though they're not his own. Sometimes you have like the case in Detroit, I guess, or Michigan. I guess they have laws there where women can just randomly identify whichever man, just put any man's name down as the father of their child, and then the government will list that man as the father. I guess if the man doesn't protest, or if they don't get in contact with the man, then they'll just list him as the father and come after him for child support. So the government really doesn't care about the true biological, like who is the real biological father. They just want somebody to pay money for the child, to support the child, because in a lot of cases, if these women would not be getting any kind of child support, the children would not be getting any support. So it's like, sometimes the government would rather just randomly pick out some man and make him pay child support for the kid. It's like the government just enabling women to be lying whores, basically. It's like the government supports every kind of lying, dirty whore woman, except for the kind of whores who sell who just sell pussy, sell vagina in an honest fashion. So every kind of dirty whore is supported fully by the government, except for an honest prostitute who provides sexual services at an affordable price. That's the only kind of whore that the government has a problem with. All these other whores who cheat on their husbands and have babies with other men and then make a non-biological father pay child support for it, those type of whores are celebrated by the government, protected and rewarded by the government through the court system. It's kind of funny, but anyway, these and this case in Colorado with the man who has to pay all his child support for a kid that isn't his to his ex-wife. This goes back to the another video that I did before about why men don't want to get married. In response to that PragerU video about being a man get married, well, marriage comes with a lot of potential pitfalls and risks for men. So why would a man want to subject himself to all kinds of risks like that? So a man can marry a woman. If a man marries the wrong woman, okay, he is subject to all kinds of pitfalls, all kinds of risks. You can have a woman who cheats, has a baby with another man, then the husband has to pay for that. He could divorce her, he still has to pay for the kid, even if it isn't his. That's what happens when a man marries the wrong woman. So it's very understandable, in fact, even intelligent, if a man is hesitant or selective about which woman he wants to marry. Marrying the wrong woman can lead to all kinds of problems. Like this guy, that PragerU video was talking about how there's all these benefits from getting married, but this guy, if this guy had not married that woman, that bitch, if he had not married that bitch, he would have an extra $730 in his pocket every month. But instead he married the dirty bitch, dirty lying bitch, and now he has to pay child support for a kid that isn't his. So I wonder how PragerU would say that marrying that bitch had benefited him, because it seems to me he lost money on that. He lost money on that bet, on that marriage. That marriage resulted in a loss of money. They were talking about how getting married makes men earn more money. Well, he married a woman, now he's losing money. He's losing $730 a month. So anyway, yeah, this woman's a dirty, that woman's a bitch. Dirty bitch. I don't know, I mean, that guy is getting fucked up the butt, getting fucked in the ass basically right now by the government, by his ex-wife, and by the government. Getting fucked in the ass. That's what he gets for marrying a woman who is unworthy. So anyway, men need to be picky. If men are going to get married, they need to be very selective about which woman they marry. You could have sex with any woman, pretty much any woman you want to have sex with. There's relatively few consequences for having sex. Of course, you could catch sexually transmitted diseases, but condoms significantly reduce the risk of sexually transmitted diseases. But sex for men, casual sex, relatively low risk. But marrying these women, much higher risk. It's a much higher risk. Like this guy got screwed. This Colorado guy. I'm sure a lot of other guys got screwed by marrying the wrong woman. So I can understand why a lot of men will be hesitant to want to marry a lot of women. you can't blame them, because when you look at all these negative repercussions that can come from marriage, it doesn't make sense to just for men to just marry any woman. Just be happy to just be eager to get marry any woman, because they could end up being the next guy who has to pay child support for a child that isn't his for the next 19 years.